The next story may sound like a classic case of not in our backyard. A South Auckland community fighting plans for a proposed youth justice facility in their area because of safety concerns. But residents in Manurewa are challenging any other neighbourhood in the country to deal with having a prison over their back fence, let alone 3 others within 4 kilometres. The Whakataka Pōkai Care Facility currently houses up to 20 young people who are being looked after by Oranga Tamariki. But with the youth court age rising to include those up to 18 years old in July, plans are underway to repurpose the facility to accommodate an increase in youth offenders. Oranga Tamariki says the young people need to go somewhere, but Manurewa locals say they deal with many of the country's offenders and enough is enough. Our reporter Nita Blake-Person and cameraman Nick Monroe filed this report.
It doesn't take long to drive from Dean Andre's home to the nearby men's, women's and youth prisons at Wiri.
See, now we come to the correctional facilities. Don't ask me which one's the men's prison and the women's prison and so forth, because I've never been inside them. That's Korowai Manaki, obviously, because that's what the sign says. So you can see that's a youth justice facility, and as you can see, that's a prison.
Driving around the streets of Manurewa, Mr Andre declares it the prison capital of New Zealand.
There are 3 prisons here in Manurewa, and we're the only suburb or town in the whole of New Zealand that has 3 prisons. As far as I know, no one else has more than 1 prison in the area. We have 3. Now they want to put a 4th one, and I personally think that that's just totally unjust.
The 4th prison he's referring to is Whakataka Pōkai, about 4 kilometres down the road in the heart of the residential suburb of Weymouth, currently a facility for children in Oranga Tamariki's care. Oranga Tamariki sent letters to Weymouth residents in January, informing them that because the youth justice age is increasing to 17, they would be changing the facility's focus from only care and protection to include youth justice. Mr Andre says that will essentially make it another prison and bring with it more pressure for social services in the area.
All the social services in Manurewa are under stress, and the people are under stress. And all those people that come and visit other people in prisons, where do they stay? They stay in Manurewa. They bring their problems and their troubles and their difficulties with them when they stay, and the community has to interact with all of those things on a daily basis. And another prison in the area is only going to make that worse.
Mr Andre isn't the only one worried about the plans. On 3 of Whakataka Pōkai's boundaries are residential houses and 1 public park with a children's playground. It backs onto the home of Lily Lee and her husband Bruce Chen.
When we first bought the house, we think the care and the protect centre is a good idea to look after these kids, but not use just the prison. No way.
The change would also see the number of people housed at Whakataka Pōkai increased from 20 to 30. Ms Lee spends a lot of time in her garden and says the prospect of teenage offenders just over the fence is a nightmare.
They think, they kind of, every community, every person should be careful for these, kids, they are our future, they are vulnerable, blah, blah. But then, who cares for us? I mean, the ordinary people work harder, do nothing wrong, always obey law, always follow the rule. I mean, the government protect or care for us.
Darcel Bell Ata is another Weymouth resident opposed to the change. She lives down the road with her husband and 3 children and is worried about escapees.
So it's that fear of what are we dealing with, and also the calibre of offender. We don't know are we talking about car thieves, or are we talking about little park vandals, or are we talking about people who have done some serious aggressive, or have serious aggressive behaviours?
She knows the kids that Oranga Tamariki will be looking after do need proper care and they have to go somewhere, but she says Weymouth isn't the place.
It's quite a built-up residential area. We've got, in this community alone of Waimahia Inlet, there are 295 homes, and all with an average of 4 to 5 in those homes. We already deal with high levels of car theft via youth and car tampering in this development.
Whakataka Pōkai was used to house youth offenders in the past, but that changed in 2002 to only accommodate young people who needed care and protection. Standing outside Whakataka Pōkai's grounds, Dean Andre says the community was assured those days were over.
We experienced a lot of burglaries, a lot of car theft, a lot of trouble, and a very high rate of prison escapes in the 1990s. And the government acknowledged that at the time. And then they gave their word that they would close the facility to youth justice offenders and they would move them to Korowai, Manaki and Wiri.
Oranga Tamariki is headed to the Environment Court this month to have the case for redesignating the site considered. Because of the impending court action, no one was available for an interview, but in a statement said youth justice residences provided a safe, secure and supportive environment for young people to get their lives back on track. It also said the agency had undertaken a notification process and engaged in a range of community meetings around the Whakatakapokai redesignation. It said children and young people benefited from being accepted within their own community and feeling like they had a place to belong. But Dean Andre says the community won't take the change lying down. More than 100 residents have made submissions to Auckland Council in opposition, and several will be appearing before the Environment Court. And for anyone who thinks the residents of Weymouth are a bunch of NIMBYs, Mr Andre has a message.
They say you're a NIMBY because you don't want a prison in your backyard. Well, I'm sorry, we've got 3 prisons already. When is enough enough?